here is a little bit more. So
Oh my
there
God.
are now rape classes being offered to explain to illegals or to migrants, wherever the case, because this is in Europe, that Western women are not rape targets. They need to be taught
Oh my
that
God. I
because
can't.
they've been brought up to think that they can just do whatever they please with women, because once again, they come from a culture that is disgusting. Okay, I'm sorry, but this culture that sees women as rape targets, that's not okay. That is not a strength or a diversity strength. That's none of that. That is psychotic. And
Yeah.
so these are classes that they actually have to put on now. This is
Remember,
actually happening.
you guys probably don't remember, but there was months ago when we were talking about this whole Palestinian, like the Hamas stuff and everything. I mentioned that when I went to school in Boston and back in like 93, I went to Harvard for summer school. And I remember walking through the streets of Boston. And that was like the first time, because I was, I was a kid. I was basically a kid at that time. And I had a mini skirt on. And I remember walking through the streets of Boston and being screamed at by somebody who was of like that descent, screaming at me for wearing a mini skirt
In
and
Boston.
in Boston. And it was back in, the early 90s. And I remember thinking, wait, what? Like I'd never been I mean, it was the very first time that it ever happened to me. Cause I had, I grew up in Atlanta. It's like, it was hot. We wore mini skirts and shorts, you know what I mean? And so I just remember going there for this, and they were screaming at me. They were protesting something, and I don't really remember what they were protesting, but that individual was screaming at me for basically being a whore in public wearing a mini skirt.
Well, maybe you shouldn't wear horse skirts.
Right. It was a horse skirt. It was a horse. But it was because of that. It was because that culture, they don't want you wearing mini skirts, you know what I mean? But it goes back to this whole short skirt and heels thing, and you can't. It's a cultural thing. They don't like that. And I cannot believe that we have to teach them not to rape women. What is even
where
happening?
We are. Yeah. And find me a Western democratic free country that has been improved by the importation of this culture. Find me a single one, because if anything, the exact opposite is true.
Yeah,
these cultures are devolving into chaos, into violence, and it's because we're importing these cultures that do not mesh with Western values.
Well, look at Palestine. Look how much of our money has been funneled into that place. What do they do with it? Yeah. You think that place it's not like that place is turned into Dubai.
Right.
You know what I mean? Look at it. Look at what they've done with it. It's a complete and total shithole, So, I mean, I'm just saying.
And by the way, because there'll probably be like, you guys are so racist or whatever. Listen, there are Islamists and there are people who practice Islam. And those two are very, very different. I recognize that. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying this is an all thing. I'm saying Islamists are a problem and they are radical by definition. So I'm not saying this is all Muslims. I'm saying this is all Islamists. They are the problem.
I will say, Mock, that it's all oppressive to women.
It is oppressive. And I've often said that people who are peaceful Muslims are not practicing their religion correctly.
It's all oppressive. I mean, it's like, I wouldn't want to live in any place in the Middle East. I don't want to travel there. I don't want to go there. I don't want my girls going there. It's like, you stay away from it. It's like, I don't want any part of that. It's oppressive to women. So take it and so now we're importing that into the United States. What do you think is going to happen? So all these feminists who defend this, good luck with that.
Right, exactly. And the queers for Palestine, that's going to go over really, really well. You guys remember these? It's been a while.
Yes, it's been a while.
It has been a hot minute since we got to tell you about the EdenPURE Thunderstorm air purifier. And now I find you're going to be like, you are a moron. But here is what I just realized. So they call it the Thunderstorm, you guys, because it smells like that smell when you have your windows open after a spring storm. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Fills your house. And I was like, that is why they call it that, because it smells like that.
She just now realized that.
I just got it.
It's only been like 2 years, but it took a while.
I know it
Uh-huh.
really did. But these are so handy because, as you can see from the back, they plug into the wall, which means that they take up no floor space whatsoever.
Mhm.
And they work in small, tiny spaces, and they obviously work in big rooms as well. And so, like, we use these like crazy when Jackson was in the height of his lacrosse season. And we always, like, especially after a rainy game, he would just take off all of his gear and put it in this mudroom, and it would be rank. I mean, it was so gross. And you just plug this in. Literally 10 minutes later, the room smells like just post thunderstorm, and it
Yeah.
just gets rid of all those gross odors. And you can use them in your kitchen. Like if you make something that your rest of your family doesn't like the smell of. My
Fish.
husband hates eggs, hates
Yeah.
them. So this is
Mhm.
super handy if I want to make eggs and he's around. I can plug these in. They also have this little USB port, so you can use them in a car. If you have like the plug-in for a USB cable in your car, they are so handy, and you will want to use them in multiple rooms, which is why they have this deal going on right now, where if you use code CHICKS3, you save $200 on a 3-pack. So you get 3 of them, and you will use every last one of them. I promise you, these are so handy and so effective and so quick. And you can also, they're adjustable. So if you just need a little bit of air purifying, you can turn it on the minimum setting, or you can blast it. Like if you got the eggs going or the
Yeah.
lacrosse
Or
gear, you can
stinky kid
blast it.
car. Yeah.
Or like a cat litter box. They're
Right.
perfect around a
Uh-huh.
cat litter
Mhm.
box. So go to EdenPureDeals.com and then use code CHICKS3 to get the 3-pack, the huge savings on the 3-pack. You're going to love them.
Mhm.
You're about to see a little teaser of a documentary that is available on YouTube, which shows a specific city in Michigan where it has become just an example of what we just talked about. When you import a horrible culture into a Western values culture, you're going to have trouble. And unfortunately, you're going to have trouble where you're turning Americans against their own country. And you'll see a trailer for that documentary here. I think that is what is next. Yes.
Islam is America's last hope.
Oh my God.
What happens when Muslims take over an American city?
Everywhere where these radical Islamists have touched, what you get is chaos. You get violence. You get the subjugation of women.
So you don't think there's any issue in getting a 7-year-old to wear that kind of dress?
I don't think it's really a bad thing.
If you give full license to activist Muslims in America, these are the types of things that they're going to bring to America.
We visited America's only Muslim-dominated city to find out what has changed.
She had a store and there was a goat carcass one time in her dumpster.
Muslim parents don't want art and music for their children. That's discrimination.
How mosques are converting the local population.
Many African American Muslims regard Detroit as the Mecca of our Islam.
How liberals are reacting to the Muslim government.
I've been told by many people that they don't feel safe here anymore.
They were, flying Hamas flags, and we were like, okay.
You had people shouting, "Death to America." What do you think about that chant?
I think it's awesome. I mean, I'm black. You know what I mean? It's like, I come from a people who were forced to be here. I think a lot of Arabs were not brought here through the slave trade, but were forced to be here because America bombed their countries to smithereens. Because what is America, right? It's like the center for genocide. America's like the world police. So I think that chanting death to America is, I don't know, maybe one of the least problematic things somebody can say.
Okay. There's no place else to go, dude. I mean, we're seriously, when America becomes that crap hole, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? These people are so brainwashed, Mock.
I know.
I don't. And they're getting our children now. That's it. It breaks my heart more than anything.
Yeah.
I get angry about it, but my heart breaks because it's like, I guess he doesn't know. I look at him and I think, have you lived anyplace else? Have you been anyplace else? Do you know? Like, go live there.
Right. You would last 45 minutes.
Right. If that. I mean, these people are so spoiled.
Yeah.
So, like the college students, they're all just so entitled and spoiled. They're a bunch of brats. They know nothing else as they sit on their iPhones and they scroll through Instagram and they're like, oh, America sucks. Death to America. And it's like, oh my God, you have no idea. You have no idea how good you have it.
I definitely want to watch this whole thing,
Yeah, me
even
too.
though I know it'll just make me so angry, but I do want to watch it. So
Me
it's
too.
gbnews.com/America is where you can watch that entire documentary.
Dearborn, right? Dearborn. People are asking.
Troy. It was actually Troy.
Was it
I
Troy?
thought they said.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Troy. Sorry.
Which I didn't realize that there was another area in Michigan that was so
Yeah,
overrun that even the street signs are written in Arabic. Like, what is going on?
Here, I thought it was Dearborn. So apparently there are a lot of cities in Michigan that are